Good morning, everybody. In behalf of all of us here at BPM, welcome to our webinar. We're glad you could join us today. My name is Bryan Rhody, and I'm the partner in charge of BPM's Technology Solutions practice. And our group specializes in implementing and optimizing cloud-based business applications for small and mid-sized businesses. Our focus enables our clients to run more efficiently and empowers them to do more with less. For well over 20 years, I've been helping companies similar to yours increase productivity through process reengineering strategies that allow for the better use of technology, and have helped hundreds of companies align their business strategies with right-sized technology initiatives. So excited to talk to you today about how we can help create some efficiencies in the back office now that more of us are working remote. I'm also joined today with my fellow colleague, Tompkins, who is also director on the Technology Solutions team. And her primary responsibility includes oversight to the Sage Intacct practice, along with our other cloud-based applications, Bill.com and Expensify. I'll turn it over to you, Britt, for a brief introduction.
Thanks, Bryan, for the opportunity to join this webinar and for the chance to put on real adult clothes for the first time in a couple of weeks. Sure are some perks from working from home. Hi, everyone. I'm Britt Tompkins, and I'm the Director of Tech Solutions here at BPM. For the past 11 years, I've worked with clients in various industries, helping them select, implement, and support cloud-based and web-based accounting solutions. In a few minutes, I'll be presenting our recommended virtual bill payment solution. Back to you, Bryan.
Great. Thanks, Britt. As you are all aware, most of the country is in some form of shelter in place. For those of us in the Bay Area, we just lapsed 5 weeks with these restrictions, and all of us are scrambling to adjust to this new norm. The challenges business leaders are facing are not only unprecedented, but they continue to evolve every day. A weekly study being done right now by the Gartner group shows just how quickly these challenges can pivot. I'll spend some time to take a look at the results of this study and help set the stage and explain why process optimization and efficiency is so important right now, especially in the back office. When we look back when the study first started on March 16th, which is about the same time that most of us went into shelter in place in the Bay Area, we can see that the attention was from a broad perspective in these 4 areas were the CFO's primary concern. Business operations included supporting their employees during a time of crisis, and also finding creative solutions to ensure business continuity. Finance functional management meant what work can be done remote versus on-site. Many companies were going through certain cyclical processes for the first time with their teams distributed in virtual. The first check run was occurring. How could they cut checks virtually when they needed to be in the office for approvals and signatures? And many finance departments started thinking about month-end close. How are we going to do that for the first time without the necessary processes and tools in place? Financial performance meant there is now a need to adjust cash flow modeling frequency to weekly or possibly even daily, a cadence that they hadn't done before. It also meant it was time to review debt covenants to better understand the terms and conditions that they were locked into. And of course, it also meant communicating with the market. What would this adjustment or pullback mean in Q1 earnings? What effect would it have potentially on Q2? Would any adjustments need to be made on annual targets, and so on? We look at what happened on March 23rd, 1 week later. We can see the focus begins to shift from crisis mode to developing a new normal strategy. Financial performance began to focus on Q2 mitigation efforts. How do we drive more robust cost discipline across the organization? CFOs and other finance leaders made the decision to reduce discretionary spending immediately. Conferences, travel were all put on hold. And of course, CFOs were making every effort to secure access to credit to preserve long-term liquidity. And of course, business operations meant expanding access to tools that were required for remote work productivity. We look at March 30th, 3 weeks into the study. You can see that the focus shifts to aggressive management of working capital. CFOs were now looking at the ability to make just-in-time vendor payments. Does our current process support the related technology support this change in frequency? This was new. How are we going to adapt? CFOs were needing better tools in order to consume information at this increased rate. For example, they needed better reports and dashboards to monitor cash inflows and outflows on a more real-time basis. Cash management meant modifying processes to limit discretionary spend, possibly developing a workflow approval process that hadn't been in place before for purchase orders or vendor bills, and also taking a closer look at scenario modeling and potential impact on long-term forecasting. And of course, the CARES Act evaluation. That had come out just that week, so a lot of attention was on that, how the funding and other rules that were enacted were going to affect their organizations. So there's careful attention put into the CARES Act. And then we look at April 6th. The focus has clearly shifted to closely monitoring cash flows. CFOs were centralizing cash flow decision-making and adjusting approval thresholds. They were also setting cash flow triggers for actions with agreed upon procedures from the executive team and approved by the board, and also centralizing the receivables functions as well. Scenario modeling at this point meant that there needed to be an understanding that these scenario models would require frequent updates. And of course, labor cost management meant mapping out escalation triggers on key metrics in real time to allow for more frequent monitoring with these specific actions in place. When you evaluate the study results along this timeline, it quickly puts it into perspective what the ongoing impact of COVID is making. With the focus now on preserving working capital, it's more important than ever that your people, processes, and technology are in line with best practices. The margin for error right now is just too thin, and no time can be wasted on manual or error-prone processes. The information on this slide tells an interesting story. It shows how CFOs are planning for life post-COVID by keeping some of the current cost reductions in place. 75% of the CFO surveys plan to keep at least 5% of their workforce permanently remote post-COVID, meaning the need for the right tools becomes more important now than ever before. Of course, this isn't a siloed decision. It's not just the people, it's not just the technology side, but it's also the people and processes that go along with it. From a people perspective, most companies did not support remote work in the way that we are living it today. Even at some of the most progressive companies, even here in the Bay Area, remote work was reviewed as a reward or something that was given to senior employees. It wasn't something that was viewed as a necessity. Also, management was not prepared to work productively with the respective teams. The processes that were established were not designed for virtualization, approvals, check signing, work review, etc. Most of these processes were designed with being on site in mind and working alongside your fellow colleagues and teammates. And then there's the technology side of it as well. Most companies lacked the necessary technology from a hardware and software perspective. We're here today to discuss the software side, but if you think about the number of companies that don't provide laptops to their employees, virtualization was nearly impossible. As we move forward through this crisis and beyond, we need to be prepared that some of the strategies we are using today while in shelter in place and other similar arrangements will continue to be a part of how we conduct business in the future. If you think about how travel was impacted post 9/11, we can all expect that there'll be a shift in how we conduct business permanently going forward. But that's what we're here to help you with. So where do we begin, right? As we evaluate the back office from a process perspective, there are many areas that are prime for optimization, especially now in this virtual world. Since the priority on every CFO's mind right now is on cash preservation, we decided to focus our webinar today on the accounts payable process. What strategies can your business take to ensure the outflows of cash are being tightly controlled? On this slide, we'll walk you through 4 simple strategies that'll help you improve your accounts payable process. And as we move into our software demonstration, we'll show you how Bill.com, a leading cloud-based accounts payable and accounts receivable application, can help easily enable these strategies. A centralized AP process is the first step you should take in creating a more efficient and scalable process. It enables better controls and also decreases overall process time. Examples of this are establishing a digital AP inbox that can be assigned to multiple people on your accounts payable team, and then also simplifying your payment process regardless of check or ACH. Keep your AP run streamlined. Also, improving transparency to your overall process through real-time reporting will help speed up the payment cycle. Ensure invoices are paid on time, which will also allow you to better monitor payments to mission critical vendors, vendors that are absolutely necessary to keep your business running smoothly. Even though we are now in a defensive mode of cash preservation, it's critically important to understand who your mission critical vendors are and make every effort that they are being taken care of. Now is not the time to overlook the vendors you rely on to run your business. So improved transparency to who those vendors are extremely important. Having access to real-time reporting and then also online document storage to be able to pull up prior invoices, current invoices in real time is very important. Which then leads to increased oversight. Improved transparency will also enable increased oversight to your AP process. Because just as I explained above, payment to your vendors and suppliers are still an essential part of your business, especially right now with the hypersensitivity on cash preservation. It's even more important than ever to monitor each and every invoice before payment is authorized. Examples of how Bill.com will enable that are automated workflows with approvals for vendor bills, approving each vendor bill before they go out. And then also having a digital audit trail of each and every transaction, who is approving the transaction, who is entering information on an invoice, having all of that digitally captured as an audit trail. And then of course, tying it all together with the streamlined process through automation. Paper-based documents are cumbersome and are difficult to track. It's not only an onerous task to keep a paper trail, but it's also extremely difficult to find a relevant document in a timely manner. Additionally, even with teams working remotely now, it's nearly virtually impossible to shuffle paper back and forth. So first and foremost, through automation, removing paper completely, digitize everything. Then if you have the ability to have these processes integrated with your accounting system, record the financial impact. And then with that, I will transition over to Britt Tompkins to walk you through Bill.com and how using its capabilities in the cloud can help easily enable these strategies for your business.
Hi, everyone, again. Really great insights, Bryan. Thank you for sharing what leaders are focused on during these difficult times and for setting up the 4 strategies that I'll be demonstrating today in Bill.com. I'm very excited to discuss our recommended virtual payment solution, and I thought I would start by posing a question. Have you considered how much time you're really spending on your bill pay process, especially now with all of us not being able to work in the office? Whether it's chasing down paperwork, reconciling accounts, or stressing out about your cash flow, manual accounting processes are really a hindrance to those of us who are attempting to run our businesses remotely. For those of you who may not be familiar with Bill.com, it is a web-based system and it makes business payments simple, fast, and secure. Today, during the demo, we will explore how easy and organized your business payment process can be. Bill.com has so many benefits to offer as a virtual bill payment solution. And we firsthand here at BPM. We're exclusive partners with them. Internally, we use this application for outsourced accounting clients who come to us and they ask for help running their accounting back office. We're currently using Bill.com to serve over 100 clients right here in the Bay Area. Another great point to mention is it's a very cost-effective tool. Lots of small to medium-sized businesses use it, as well as thousands of nonprofits. For those of you concerned about cost, which let's face it, everyone's concerned about cost right now, Bill.com is extending an offer to new customers, and they're offering 3 free months. Bill.com also integrates with several of the most well-known accounting systems, QuickBooks Online, Xero, NetSuite, and Sage Intacct. However, if you didn't hear your accounting system in that list, Bill.com can also be used as a standalone software application. So before we get into the demo, I did want to briefly mention Bill.com's security protocols. Millions of companies utilize this software every day, and they pay over $70 billion worth of invoices every year. Now, if you're interested in learning more about their security protocols, please visit their website at bill.com/security. So next, we're going to spend about 15 to 20 minutes inside of the demo and walk everybody through some steps. Go ahead and move to the next slide. So using Bill.com, we'll go through coding a bill, we'll talk about international payments. We will approve the bill, pay the bill. We'll also talk through payment tracking and audit trails. And if we have enough time, we'll have a bonus round where we can take a peek at a live dashboard. We're going to sign in, and we are going to sign in as Max. Max is our accountant. So to sign into Bill.com, you simply go to their webpage. They have a sign-in link. You type in your email and a password and click sign in. So here we are. We're inside of Bill.com. Navigating Bill.com is done on the left-hand side. Have access to tons of applications. Depending on your permissions, you could see some or all of these. Now that we're signed in as Max, he has a job to do. He needs to review the invoices that have been sent to the Bill.com inbox. Now, you may be thinking, what's an inbox doing inside of Bill.com? So an inbox is where all of the bills and documents show up when they are emailed or uploaded into Bill.com. So going back to one of the 4 strategies Bryan mentioned earlier, this is where we really start to centralize your process. And we do this by removing the paper. With Bill.com, you're no longer passing around paper invoices, filing them in cabinets, or hand delivering them for approval. And so Max's role is to ensure all vendor bills are emailed to the inbox. Each one of our clients has a unique email address, and you can provide an email address to your vendors so that they can begin emailing the bills directly into the inbox. For example, let's say Bill.BPM used it, it would be BPM, maybe AP at Bill.com. Now is the perfect time to start reaching out to your vendors and having them adopt this process, right? They're worried about sending in a paper invoice to an office that nobody's going to be at and that their bill isn't going to get paid. So now's the perfect time to do this. In the event that you don't have the capability to have your vendors transition to this process and email the invoices to Bill.com, they have a way to handle this. You can drag and drop files from your desktop or other folders, or better yet, just download the Bill.com app and take a picture of the bill. It will be automatically sent to your inbox. Another great feature is documents. So this allows for improved transparency, one of our 4 strategies. It helps keep invoices, W-9s, vendor letters, contracts, leases, and more inside of Bill.com. So this allows you to minimize your paper clutter, but also secure your documents. So we're using this digital approach. Sensitive documents do not circulate out in the open, but rather they're shared via an encrypted connection to only those who should have access. In addition, digital workflow solutions remove emails from the equation, so no document falls victim to an inadvertent forward. I know I've been guilty of 1 or 2 of those. So now let's move into coding. Once a bill is sent to Bill.com, the person in charge of coding will receive an alert. It's time to review the bill, set up the accounting, determine how and when it will be paid, and finally route it for approval. And you do all of this inside of Bill.com. So let's start with a bill. Michelle, who's the owner of this company, has sent one to the inbox. Let's pick this top one for $800. Oh, look, there's a green bar up top saying Bill.com has started this bill for us. Well, let's take a look. Now that it's time to review this invoice, we get to see what the machine learning technology did to help us. And so the type of machine learning that Bill.com takes advantage of is called OCR, or Optical Character Recognition Technology. Now, this technology can recognize text inside of images, such as scanned vendor invoices, and pictures. So next, I'd like to show you what Bill.com can automatically populate for you. So you'll see here, it actually selected my vendor, my invoice number, the due date, and the amount.
Hi, Brett. Just a quick question that's coming in right now from some of our viewers. How accurate is the OCR capabilities? And does any manual intervention need to occur?
Yeah. So the machine learning handles transactions, I would say correctly, 90% of the time. What's really great is that allows companies to really manage the exception instead of the individual data entry process. So it really frees up some time and allows for some great automation. Another thing to mention about the machine learning is the longer you use it, the smarter it becomes. So the more times you get a bill, let's say on the screen we have Hacienda sign, it's going to know, hey, I need to code it here. I need to put this date on it. This is the invoice number. So the longer you use it, the smarter it gets. So now we're going to move into the accounting aspect of the invoice. We need to classify the expenses. You'll see here that the OCR technology actually populated our chart of account for us. Now you can choose to break the expense out by different classes, cost centers, departments. You also have the option to, maybe there's 2 different types of expenses on the bill. You can split that out here in bill.com. Now, as we talk about approvers, you can also manage approvers for this bill. In this case, Michelle, who's the business owner, approves all of the invoices. However, if you wanted to review bills over a certain amount or vendors, here at BPM, we can help make that a part of your accounts payable process. Another fun fact, the routing of payment requests requires multiple sets of eyes on an invoice, and your auditors who may or may not be on this call are really going to love that. One last step, there we are, we just coded the bill. Now you'll notice that I didn't type anything into the screen. Did you see that? I didn't type in a vendor name. I didn't select a date. I didn't type in the amount. It's hands-free. So that's another great thing about bill.com is it's going to save you a lot of time releasing you from the data entry. Now, another great point to mention is that if you were syncing this with your accounting system, this is where bill.com would code the invoice inside your accounting system. So it would create the AP bill, it would save all of the information, right, the vendor, the amount, the due date, and post it for you, really alleviating that 2-step data entry process. Great, next I'm going to briefly talk about international business payments. So here we can bring more flexibility to our bill management process, and we do that with multiple payment options so that you can securely pay domestic and international vendors how they want to be paid. Bill.com does allow you to pay vendors in a variety of currencies. So you'll notice Bill.com will do the currency conversion for you, and the US dollars will come out of your bank account. Your vendor gets paid in their local currency. Great, so now let's move on to approving bills. So in order to approve the bill, I do need to log in as Michelle. It's important to note here that payment approval processes do address several trouble areas of accounts payable. It really creates an efficient solution for your business. And in fact, we see our clients who are utilizing bill.com save an average of about 50% of their time on their entire accounts payable process. Everything's electronic. Sometimes there's machine learning. You're not having to data entry, right? You don't have to hand walk an approval over, so your payable cycle gets shorter. For example, we have a nonprofit client who came to us seeking outsourced accounting help. Their bills were being hand entered into different systems. They needed approvals from various people in the organization who did not reside in the same office or even in the same state. And this resulted in a long payable cycle. They incurred a lot of late fees from their vendors, and sometimes their vendors were even double paid. So we helped them install bill.com, and we processed their payables out of this one system. They've been super happy with the implementation, and they were able to repurpose an entire staff member to work on the organization's mission instead of processing AP. And so that's just one example of how powerful technology and this system can really be. All right, well, let's move forward and pay. We're going to log in as Michelle. So remember, she's the business owner. She needs to approve the bill. Now, it's important to note that her only option isn't simply to approve. She can also deny, add a note, ignore, and come back later. But for today's purposes, I did want to walk through approving an invoice. You'll notice on the left-hand side, Michelle's permissions is only to the approval section. Now, she only has permissions to approvals because Bill.com likes to keep their access limited so that she's very focused when she logs in. She knows exactly what she needs to do. If we get to the dashboard section later, I'll show you a to-do list. And it's easy. When she gets a link, yes, I need to approve bills, boom, here's a list of all the bills I need to see. And so this is one centralized way for her to see all of the bills. She doesn't need to check emails for approvals. She doesn't need to go in different folders, different systems. It's all here ready for her. So you'll see on this screen, she can easily identify the bills that are ready for approval. It's going to give you several of the standard information that you would think, okay, if I need to approve a lot of bills, I would want to at least know this information. Now, she does have several options of the way to approve. So she can approve one. She can select maybe only two to approve. My personal favorite is clicking on the individual bills. This allows you to see an image of the invoice and the accounting coding side by side. And so to me, this is a real true approval process. When she's ready, she'll click approve in the upper right-hand corner. And that's it. Now, Michelle doesn't need to approve the invoices only on her computer. She can also do it from any device, anytime. So think about no longer being tied to your pack of check stock and your Micker printer. You can approve bills on your mobile phone. Great. So we've coded the bill. We've made sure that the accounting is in. And we've also approved it. So let's go ahead and pay. This is the fun part, right? Pay. So to pay, we're going to log in as Aetna. So Aetna is this company's payer, and we're going to log in. Now you'll see we're inside of the bills module, and we can see all of the bills here that are ready to be paid. Again, you can pay them all at once, choose a few, or pay one individually. So here's the bill that we've been following all along, the Hacienda design, and let's go ahead and pay this bill. Now, before I do that, I did want to mention that payments can be processed through a Bill.com clearing account, and this allows you to keep your banking information private. You can also pay by check, by ACH, or with a new feature called Vendor Direct. And what this is, it's a single-use MasterCard, and it's more flexible, and it's a little bit faster than sending check payment. So here we are, we're going, as Aetna, we're going to review and pay. So here's where I'm going to review the payment details. If I choose to only pay $400 of the amount, if maybe I don't have cash flow this week, but I know I have cash flow next week, I can push this date out. Maybe this isn't the right checking account. I want it to pay out of a different account. These are all editable fields that can give you options when you're paying your bill. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Bill.com can be used as a standalone system. But if it was integrated with an accounting platform, there's another spot where it would integrate, right? The bill payment would sync overnight, and it would mark the open bill as paid. That's going to clear it off your open payables report. It's also going to post the cash entry. So when you go to do your bank reconciliation, the entry is already in there for you to reconcile. So think through this. It's really a huge time saver. You're not going to have to enter data into two systems, and you get to take advantage of all of the automation, document storage, security inside of Bill.com. Another great benefit to this virtual payment approval workflow, it really allows teams to take advantage of early payment benefits or holding payments based on cash flow. So the accounting team can more easily determine when the payment approval where it stands, what's the best time to pay it, when should we think about outgoing payments. So as a result, your business has tighter controls on outbound cash flow. It's super important right now.
Yeah, just one question that came up in regards to setting up vendors for electronic payments and different methods that we can use to make sure that we set the vendors up the right way. Can you spend some time talking through how Bill.com enables that process, and then also how BPM can help in that area too?
Absolutely. So there is a feature inside of Bill.com where you can invite a vendor who has an email address to enter their own information. So they send a link, Bill.com sends them a link to a secure portal where they can enter their routing number, their accounting number. Bill.com will send a test transaction, maybe a penny or 2 cents, right? And then that's a secure way. So the company isn't taking any risk of having to save this information. The vendor does it. Now, let's say your vendor doesn't have an email or isn't really tech savvy, wanting to put their information in that secure portal. That's where our BPM team comes in, and they have a pull process. So they have a vendor campaign, or I'm sorry, a letter campaign. So they reach out to every single vendor and have an ACH form and request that. When they don't get it back, they're picking up the phone, right? And so they're really thorough on getting that done. So there's a couple options there, Bryan.
Right. Thanks, Britt.
No problem. All right, let's talk about payment tracking and audit trail. So this is one area where we can really start to see the benefits of increased oversight. Bill.com keeps track of the document, any changes that occur, who's approved it, who's paid it, when was it paid, was the payment cashed by a vendor? If so, they're going to include a copy of the cash check. And so this all gets saved inside of the system and can be reviewed at any point in time. So for example, here's the bill we just paid. You can see it's marked as paid. You can see who made the payment. Bill.com tracks the payment status up top here along the way. So you see we've scheduled it. It's going to be processed, when it's been mailed to the vendor, and when it's cleared. Now you can also activate a feature where your vendors will get notifications too. So they could get a notification saying, oh, okay, a bill has been paid on this date, and I know that I should expect it to be mailed on this date. So that's a way to keep your vendors informed too, to hopefully reduce the vendors calling and saying, hey, where's my payment? Well, they're going to get notifications automatically. So the idea here is that we have increased oversight over the entire process. We can see the full details of the bill, the approval process, and the payment.
As invoices are approved and are queued up for payment, at what point can they still send the invoice back to be corrected? If it's already approved for payment, can you send it back if a change needs to be made at the 11th hour?
Yes. You can send it back. Once a bill is approved, there's protocols in place where you would need permission or to change it, right? But the approver can deny that invoice, and then the coder can change anything that needs to be coded. But there's also several different processes and permissions of how you can go about doing this based on who's in your organization and what works best for you. But you're absolutely not locked into this until you click pay. At that point, Bill.com's printing the check or submitting the wire, and you would just void at that time.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of flexibility built in with controls at every step along the way, with the options to go back and make changes if necessary. So great, thank you.
So I hope we showed, regardless of the business size or structure, virtual bill payment solutions aid businesses in creating efficient processes. These solutions really help to free up staff time so that you can focus on business strategy, forecasting, and growth. So I wanted to thank everybody for following along in the demo. It was really great to show you how having approvals and audit trails increases your business oversight, how creating a Bill.com inbox allows you to centralize your process, using Bill.com for online document storage improves transparency and security across the organization. And you're also utilizing that machine learning, right? That OCR technology that will help you streamline and gain automation. So how can BPM help? We have the expertise to step in and get you up and running quickly so that you can focus on your business. Our team's done approximately 150 Bill.com implementations across all industries, and we truly make it our business to keep up with evolving technology. We have streamlined the onboarding process. We have policies in place to reach out to your vendors. We even have staff to provide customized training and support after the system's up and running. Oh, and if you need help processing bills, we can do that too.
Right. Yeah, great. Thanks, Brett. Yeah, you're right. I mean, the value add from the BPM perspective is that we are here end to end throughout the entire project. We help through the onboarding process, getting you ready to migrate to Bill.com, offering up best practice recommendations from a charter account standpoint, if this is the first time that you're moving to a new system, to actually implementing and configuring the software too. But as Brett mentioned, really personalized and interactive training is something that goes above and beyond. So we want to make sure that everybody on your team is comfortable and confident using this new system, understanding that using a new system like this can be a big change for some of your employees that may be used to working on site and working alongside other people. So we really do, and we go the extra mile to make sure that everybody is familiar with how to use these new tools and are completely comfortable with the new processes in place before we hand the keys over to you. But then, as Britt said too, we're there for the long term. So if you need additional training or support as questions come up, we're there. And we also have full teams of accountants that can help out with the transactions too, and the need that the volume picks up and you don't have the staff to help. We have people that can help there too. I do see a couple of questions just coming in. I don't know, just take a quick peek to see. System integration, it's a good question, and we'll get to Q&As in just a little bit, but I'll just address this one because I think Britt mentioned it at the beginning of the demo. But Bill.com does integrate with 4 different systems out of box. It's QuickBooks, it's Xero, and then NetSuite and Intact are the 4 systems that it has built-in integrations for. So systems like Rhody or others, there isn't an integration currently built that's out of box. There are other ways that you can integrate Bill.com or other bill pay solutions into those systems, but it requires some additional infrastructure and middleware to help out with that integration.
And that is something that we can help with, Brian. We are doing that for several clients right now who really have this need. They can't go into the office. A lot of nonprofits are having, they have to issue these large checks for grants. And so they're really looking for a secure way to do that. They're using Bill.com. And so we're helping them on the back end build that bridge between their accounting system and Bill.com. Takes a little bit more time, but it's really worth it, and they're finding a lot of value.
Right. So next steps, what can you do if you're interested in moving forward with the Bill.com implementation to help automate and streamline your AP process? Well, BPM will send an email following today's webinar that will obviously include the materials that we're reviewing with you right now, and will also include a recording of the webinar. We'll also include my information as well as Britt's contact information, so you can reach out directly to either one of us to help. And we'll also be sending what's called an onboarding workbook. As Britt and I were explaining, we've helped streamline this onboarding process, and this can be done very, very quickly through the help of that onboarding workbook that we'll send you and help walk you through and filling it out. But then what can you do in the meantime? You can start thinking about ways, evaluating your current process and thinking of ways you can implement these strategies. Be prepared to explain to both Britt and I, your current processes and the bottlenecks that you're facing. So just start thinking through, how you're doing AP right now. Where are ways that you can improve it, and ways that you can employ these strategies that we talked about today. But we'll be sending that information out later today after the webinar is done for your information. So as we move into Q&A, I think what we'll do, Britt, we can take a quick look to see that we have some questions that are coming in. Just take a quick look to see, talked about integrations. There's some questions that are coming across that are asking about vendor information and then initiating the process to move their vendors to an electronic payment process. So yes, so after part of doing that means that process will initiate in Bill.com, but that means that we need to get vendor information into Bill.com. So there are a few different ways that we can do that. If we're connecting it to a system that has an automated integration, once we connect that system, whether it's QuickBooks, Xero, Intact, or NetSuite, those vendors will sync directly into those systems. And once at that point, then you can initiate that process to move them towards electronic payments. If we're not integrating to one of those systems, then we can do a manual load of that vendor information into Bill.com to help with that process. But we do need to get that information into the system first before we can initiate that. And of course, we can always do that manually too. So in the event that you don't have vendor email addresses which will enable that process, we can handle that through just regular traditional mail as well and follow up with your vendors that way. Britt, there's another question that's looking from the integration perspective. I think we're working with that on another client right now. Is there an estimation effort of how that integration process works with other systems that do not currently have an integration automatically built?
It depends on the system. So it's a system by system case. Now, it just depends on what we're looking to integrate. So are we pulling over copies of the invoices? Are we just syncing bills? Are we looking to sync vendors back and forth between the two systems? And so it just really depends on what we're looking to do. And then we would build the integration in a few weeks.
Great, thanks, Brett.
No problem.
There was another question that came in. Are receivables just as easy to track on Bill.com? Yes, absolutely they are. And we're planning on having another webinar at some point talking about the receivable side, but it is just as easy to use on that side as well.
Bryan, if you don't mind, I kind of want to show the dashboard. What do you think?
I think that's great. Yeah, I'll let you take control back and you can show some of those features right now.
We have time. I wasn't sure, and I was like, oh, I got to show the dashboard. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen here on a dashboard inside of Bill.com. This is where you really gain visibility and control into your entire payables process. So you can easily see what bills are to be paid, what bills are pending approval, and who's pending approval. So if one person is not necessarily approving in a timely fashion, you can reach out to them and say, hey, I need these 25 bills approved today. I'm running checks. Then you can also look at payments going out. And there's a super handy to-do list on the right-hand side, right? And this is based off my role in the accounts payable process. So this will help me identify what I need to do inside of the system. Now, a story I like to share is we actually have a client who put together kind of a dashboard like this. However, they were doing it manually every day in Excel. And it took her about an hour every morning to do this. She had to gather all of the incoming mail, look at the check stubs that went out the day before, update the Excel spreadsheet, and then she printed it and put it in this payables binder. When BPM found out, we immediately did a demonstration of Bill.com, and we helped their company install it. So now our client gets to spend the morning running their business instead of managing the spreadsheet. And you know, this is why I get up and come to work every day. This is to make our clients' lives easier through the use of technology. So I do encourage you guys to take a good look at this platform. It's well worth spend.
Great, thanks, Brett. One other question came up too that I think we can probably both talk through. It's do you enter the bill in Bill.com and then sync with QBO or vice versa? I've seen it done both ways. I think most of the time, especially when we're dealing with QuickBooks, that transaction will originate within Bill.com. When you're working with more sophisticated systems like NetSuite and Intact and have a purchase order approval process in place, then those transactions originate within the ERP and then flow over to Bill.com. Just because Bill.com doesn't have the ability yet for purchase order approval workflows. So if that's a part of your process, that the procure-to-pay process must originate in that ERP, generate the purchase order, have the workflow wrapped around in that system. The approved purchase order then becomes the vendor bill, at which point then that will integrate or send information over to bill.com. With QBO, if you're not using purchase orders, you can originate that transaction in bill.com and have it sent back. That's not a problem.
We did get a question about credit cards and expense reports. Did you kind of want to talk about the other solutions we work with, or want me to handle that one?
Absolutely. So we are partners with Expensify, and then also Nexonia as well, to help out on the employee expense management side of things. So we leverage those softwares to handle the credit card transactions and capturing those activities. We can sometimes either integrate that directly into bill.com, or have it integrate directly into your accounting system if there is a built-in integration. So there is a workaround if there isn't a direct integration between either of those software applications into your accounting system. We can do that through bill.com and then into your accounting system to hit the GL impact. But those are the two systems that we recommend for credit card transactions. And both of those two have very similar OCR mobile capabilities as well. Be able to take a picture of a receipt or an invoice, or have it directly integrate with your credit card activity is pretty easy to do. Are there any other things, Britt, that you wanted to show from a dashboard perspective? Or
Not necessarily. We went through the process in the demo. I mean, I guess I could show, so when you have a to-do list, sometimes you're really busy or you're rolling out of bed trying to get some things done and don't necessarily look at all these fun things. You can simply click on your to-do list, excuse me, and it will take you directly to where you need to be and what you need to do. And so these 31 bills need to be taken care of. So your to-do list will take you right to what you need to do. I could review and pay all of these. Same thing if I needed to pay. So it's just one-click links to get me exactly what I need to do if I'm short on time.
Great. There
is a note. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Brett.
I was just going to say, you can also put notes on the bills too. So you'll see on this bill, I said, looks great, thanks. But maybe the note is, you know, this is above contract, or we really need a revised invoice with a PO number on it. There's several different things like this one, wrong GL account, incorrect amount, you know, and my coder needs to go back and fix that.
Right. And there's also another question about where is the sync function, and typically that's scheduled. That's not something that you would have to manually do. You of course have the flexibility to run the sync at any time that you want, but typically that's set up on a schedule that's run at a cadence that works for you. And that's something that we
yes, and absolutely. And I'm in the demo account. If I was in a live instance, there would be a sync feature, and you could click sync now. So you can sync at any point in time. So let's say you're trying to close the books on AP, you can come in and press the button manually to do it. Otherwise, it does run overnight. I think it's about 2 a.m. in the morning.
Right. And that's where too the BPM team can help customize those notifications that go along with the sync. There's certain information that can be sent out electronically at varying levels, depending on how much information you see it and how and when you need to see it. So we help customize those messages as well. Thank you for joining us today. We hope that you got a lot of value out of what we presented with the strategies that we put in place, and then also how bill.com can help. And we would love to help you move forward if this is something that you think would be valuable to continue to run your business while we're doing this virtually. But thank you all for joining, and thank you to my fellow colleague, Brett. Thank you for all of your help in delivering an outstanding demo. That was very, very helpful.
My pleasure. Please reach out, guys. There will be a follow-up after the webinar, and we look forward to speaking with you individually.
Great. And then one last thing, I just see a lot of questions coming in on the receivable side. It looks like there's a lot of interest on that. So Britt and I will get together. We don't have that scheduled yet, but that's something that we'll pull together and get on the calendar soon. Great. Well, thank you, everybody. And we look forward to working with you if this is of interest and will help your business. And we're excited to work with you.